Well, good morning, YouTube. It's currently May the 16th, 2025. It's Friday in the morning, about 6:30, 53 degrees. I got my jacket on. Of course, you'll see that when I start riding because my sleeves show up in the video. I missed my dentist appointment again yesterday. I wasn't feeling good. Still don't feel good right now, but it's a lot different riding my bike than sitting in a dental chair having my mouth drilled and gouged out and stuff. So completely different kinds of stress. Really wanted to go get this damn tooth taken care of, but oh well. That's just how much it is for me. Well, I need your opinion. Well, you'll actually be voting on the opinion in this video if you're a regular viewer. I'm going to start changing my format. My average rides are about 30 minutes, and I'm going to start breaking my videos up into 10-minute segments and putting part numbers on them. I'm still going to do, basically what I'll do is I'll do shorts from the videos. I'll do 10-minute segments out of my videos, or whatever seems appropriate depending on the dialogue and what's happening in the videos, so everything kind of ties together still. And I'll still upload the long videos. So it's going to take a lot of effort on my part because my computer sucks and it's slow, and it's going to be increasing my editing time by probably a couple hours. But I know people don't really have the time commitment to watch a whole half-hour video, but they might be interested in watching a segment here and there. I've done it before, but the way I did it before was I was uploading the parts of my videos based upon when my camera automatically reset during the ride. So if you're ever wondering why, like sometimes in my videos, why my dialogue just skips, like it seems like I miss saying something or there's a glitch, it's not a glitch. These Akato cameras, after about 22 minutes, they reset. They don't shut off, they just restart. I don't know if it's a heating thing, a battery thing, a video quality thing. I have no idea why it does it because I haven't noticed anything to indicate why it does it. It just does it. And there's no way to turn it off, which is really annoying. So remember, it'd be super duper awesome if you could like, subscribe, comment, share. Subscribers, thanks for hanging in there. New subscribers, welcome to the channel. Random viewers, consider subscribing. I've got over 3,000 videos on YouTube. 99% of it's e-bike content. So if you're into e-bikes, you're going to be into my videos probably. So I definitely want to at least get a half hour in on this ride so I can start my experiment today. Of course, then I'll be uploading this video out of order, but I'm still about 15 videos behind from last month. Last month being April. I finally finished off March. So, but that'll just give me more videos to experiment with my new editing guidelines or whatever you want to call it. It's chilly out here. Wasn't expecting this. It's pretty chilly out here. Still need to fix my brakes or work on. Not fix them, I just need to work on. I don't know if I want to screw with it though. At least not the rear one, because I'm getting that new rear wheel supposed to show up on the motor, supposed to show up on the 22nd. So I don't really want to have to adjust the brake too much, just to have to take it off and put it back on, you know. So I'm definitely going to have to adjust the position of the caliper and line it up and everything. The fun part's going to be getting that new tire on there. It's a pain getting it, like the front tire that I put on here. This is a 16-inch by 2.5-inch dual motorsport tire. It's a motorcycle tire, and I'm not sure what the spacing is on the rim itself on the front on this motor. I'm assuming it's a BMX size wheel, like a 20-inch wheel, but it's like probably like 2 inches or less. So getting the tire on there is a pain. There's not a lot of room to work with. And it's even kind of more difficult to get the wire beads seated properly in the rim as I'm inflating it. I really got to work the crap out of it to get it in there right. Even on the front one, it's still a little bit off, but it's not like an amount that I would notice when I'm riding. Just like when I'm off the bike and I'm looking at the wheel spinning, I can tell it's off a little bit. One thing I like about these MMG tires, like the one on the front, is they're universal tread. You don't have to put it on in any specific direction. You slap it on and you're good to go. Another thing I'm kind of leery about is this motor I ordered was from a seller that hadn't sold any of these motors, so there were no reviews on it. But I read reviews that other sellers comment sections and stuff on their cells. And people seem to like them. I mean, I like the one I have in the front. It's the same motor. So why wouldn't I like the rear, right? My ride's going to get a little bit more uncomfortable, though, because the other dual sport tire is going to be in the rear again, as opposed to the softer tire I have on here right now. So my ride's going to get a little bit rougher. I'm going to feel more of the impacts and stuff when I run over crap on the road. Like bumps and obstructions and all that good stuff. Or bad stuff, I guess, would be more appropriate. It's getting to that time of year when I got to start paying attention to what's in the bike lane more, because the weather's going to get drier, and there's a bunch of sticker bushes on the side of the road, the goat head stickers, so they make their way into the bike lane a lot of the time. Now with the dual sport tires, I'm not too concerned about it, but the kind of the tire I have on the back here is going to be more susceptible to sticker punctures. So, but if everything works out, I'm not going to be using the rear tire again for, well, ever, hopefully. Not hopefully, I really like these tires. I like the Ultraverse tires. It's just, I like having dual sports on here. Like this front tire, I've had this front tire on here for like at least 6 months, and it's got most of the tread on it still. It's hardly worn down at all. I know the rear tire is going to be different, because the rear tire always wears down more because of the weight and friction and stuff on it. Ooh. I kind of hit that sideways. My wheel went a little wonky on me. That's one thing we people on bikes don't like, are wonky wheels, man. Wonky wheels suck. We love Willy Wonka, but we hate wonky wheels. God, I'm weird. I know the other day, or the recent video I uploaded, I mentioned I'm not going to be riding in the dirt anymore. I think I posted one about that, but with the new wheel I might, because I'm going to have a more durable tire on the back again, and I'm not going to be worried about breaking spokes because it's a mag wheel. Did I mention how much I hate spoke wheels and how much I love mag wheels? Like numerous times, over and over again, to an annoying level. You know, honestly, if this bike had bigger wheels on it, like if these were actually 26-inch size like wheels, like hub motors, this bike would go over 30 because of the wheel travel. It would actually go faster. It's just that it's slower because of the wheelbase. That's why it goes slower. That's why I can have 1,000-watt motors that only take me up to 25 on average on full throttle with 2 of them in there. Only other way to really increase the speed on these kind of motors is I'd have to either run 52 or 60 volts through them, and they're fine. They're beefy enough to handle that kind of current and voltage. They would not burn out. Now, would I be more worried of them burning out if it had just the one motor in there? Yeah, because one motor, the load's not being split up. With two motors, the load's being split up, so there's a lot less strain on the motors. What I still can't figure out though is like, the rear motor is a geared 500 watt motor, and geared motors are notorious. They're good for acceleration, but they don't tend to go as fast as direct drive motors. So what I can't figure out is why this rear motor at 1,000 watts is slower, or at 500 watts is faster than a direct drive motor at 1,000 watts. At 1,000 watts, because that's what the base wattage of the motors is. Of course, obviously motors peak way higher than that. Especially seeing as how like my rear motor's hooked up to a 1,000 watt controller and the front's hooked up to a 1,500 watt. So my rear, if you notice the monitor, you see those numbers jumping around, that's accurate. So when I full throttle, it gets close to like over 12 and a half, 1,250 kilowatts or watts or whatever, right? That'd be way too many kilowatts there, Larry. But the front one I don't know, because there's no watt meter on this monitor. It only gives me a I can look at voltage percentage, and then it gives me the bars. But it's hooked up to a 1,500 watt controller, so I'm assuming it's peaking probably 1,700 watts, but it's still going slow. Watts help with your top speed, but they're not what really causes the top speed. The top speed's caused by the voltage and the current. The voltage is what your RPMs come from, and the current is what allows your bike to get those RPMs. It's like the current is your gas. That's what the current is. See, like when our batteries drop down below the low voltage cutoff and our BMSs in the batteries or the controllers themselves start cutting power in order not to damage the batteries can still technically run for a while, because that's just voltage sag. That's not the current in the battery. The battery still has juice, it just doesn't have the voltage that you want to run at, because you don't want to run it too low and then overdraw your batteries. Because they make motor controllers, or they used to make them, that you could program to bypass the BMS, and it would still force the battery to provide power at lower voltages. So like if you're like a few miles from home and your battery starts to die, you can switch the voltage down from like say 48 to 36 to 24 and still manage to crawl home under power. I think that's what lacks in these bikes these days. They set them, they need to build them like that. They need to build the batteries like that, so that even though your bike might be rated for 48, 60, 72 volts, you can set your monitor to run at a lower voltage and still draw power but not damage the battery. Like have the BMS be programmed with multiple low voltage cutoffs and be programmed to provide power for those different lower voltages. Because it sucks when you're like 5 miles from home and you didn't gauge your distance properly and your battery dies and you're stuck with a 100-pound bike trying to ride home, especially if it's like uphill and you're like, oh my God. I know that would come in freaking handy. There's a rock right around my turn there. Not a big rock, but if I'd hit it with my front tire, I would have washed out the front end and I would have been falling down, Larry. Yeah, I should have probably stopped and kicked it over into the gutter, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. Whatever the fuck that means. I need to look up what that saying means. What is it derived from? Anyways, back to batteries, yeah. So if any sellers or manufacturers out there ever watch my videos, which I doubt, because I would probably already started getting hit up for reviews. Yeah, I know, I keep saying I don't have an ego, but apparently I do have an ego. Anyways, you should start building your bikes with, be able to run at lower voltages just in case of emergencies and stuff. Because technically the power settings, like your levels of assist, they are providing lower voltage, but they're not allowing you to bypass the low voltage cutoff. The only way to get around low voltage cutoff is if you have a controller that isn't programmed to cut off, or you have a battery that does not have a BMS. Usually the guys that build did a lot of the modding back in the days with the RC LiPo packs. They didn't have BMSs in their batteries. What they did is they just balance charged them. They balance charged them, but they had to watch them. You couldn't leave them plugged in. Like these batteries we have with our smart chargers, you can just plug them in and walk away. And the charger will cut power and keep it topped off until you ride again. But they would use like modded like PC power supplies, and they would charge their batteries with those. But then you couldn't leave it plugged in, otherwise you'd start a fire because the batteries would pop. It's very dangerous. A lot of power for your bikes, and it was an inexpensive way to build battery packs, but it was just extremely dangerous.